At the cusp of the end of its first season, Miami Vice attained something damn close to perfection. Evan is the second to last episode of season 1. It was written by Paul Diamond and directed by Rob Cohen, who stepped up and showed that he's far too good of a director to be squandered on cruddy episodes like Made for Each Other. This is my all-time favorite Miami Vice episode. For unknown reasons, it can be unexpectedly tricky to find. Out of the 100+ episodes in the series, this is the only one that's not streaming at Amazon or at NBC.com. A few years back, when Hulu and Netflix had the rights to the series, this episode wasn't there either. I don't know the reason for this. At a guess, I'd say it's probably a music rights issue. This episode uses 2 Peter Gabriel songs, and there might be a conflict in there somewhere. But I really don't know. In any case, this episode can be found on DVD, and you can find it other places, which is good because this is one that shouldn't be missed. In a warehouse in the middle of nowhere, an Argentinian arms dealer named Guzman, played by Scarface's Al Israel, is selling armor-piercing MAC-10s. His right-hand man, Evan Freed, demonstrates the weapons by shooting up a string of chained-up mannequins into pieces to the sounds of Peter Gabriel's Rhythm of the Heat. Evan is played by William Russ, who's probably best known for playing Ben Savage's dad on the much-loved 90s sitcom Boy Meets World. Crockett and Tubbs, undercover as Burnett and Cooper, arrive at Guzman's mansion and try to negotiate a sale of the MAC-10s. It's going well, and then Evan shows up and, in a scene bristling with hostile energy, immediately picks a fight with Crockett. Crockett is deeply unsettled by Evan's arrival, while Tubbs and Guzman are just confused about whatever's going on. After the meeting, Tubbs mentions that he's looking forward to arresting Evan, and Crockett tersely points out that no one will be arresting Evan because Evan's a cop. Technically, Evan is a former vice cop and current agent with the ATF, the Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, and Firearms. Crockett and Tubbs meet with Castillo and Evan's superior in the ATF, Agent Wilson, played by Christopher Murney. Wilson wants Vice to move the hell away from the investigation to avoid jeopardizing Evan's cover. Wilson tries his best to intimidate Castillo into backing down, but Castillo does that thing where he hunches over and looks at the floor and speaks in a soft voice and instantly wins the argument. As far as I'm concerned, Castillo has superpowers. Evan drops by Crockett's boat to tell him Guzman has agreed to sell the weapons to them. Crockett is openly hostile towards Evan, who responds by pulling out a gun and threatening to shoot Crockett and himself before taking a bullet out of the gun and saying it has Crockett's name written on it. Everything about this episode is worthy of attention, but I don't want anyone to sleep on William Russ's performance, because he does an outstanding job of making Evan a miserable, volatile, unhinged wreck of a human being. With an assist from Gina, Tubbs pulls Evan's file and finds out that Evan and Crockett and another vice cop named Mike Orgel used to work together before Orgel was killed in the line of duty. When Tubbs asks Crockett about Orgel, Crockett bites his partner's head off and tells him not to go behind his back. Crockett shows up later to apologize. He takes Tubbs to an abandoned gas station and pours out his soul. He and Evan and Mike Orgel were once best friends, and then it came out during an undercover assignment that Orgel was gay. This is 1985, when awareness of and sensitivity towards the LGBTQ community was, shall we say, less than optimal. Evan flipped out and acted like a jackass towards Orgel before requesting a transfer. Orgel found himself blacklisted within the department and demoted to a desk job. While off duty, he interrupted an armed robbery at the gas station and was shot and killed, which Crockett views as a suicide. Evan shows up at Vice headquarters the next day, drunk and weepy. He clings to Crockett and begs for forgiveness for his role in Orgel's death. The deal with Guzman goes down in a shipyard, because Vice, as per their agreement with the ATF, is only there to keep the MAC-10s off the street. The rest of the Vice detectives pose as dirty cops and confiscate the guns and money without arresting anyone. Guzman tries to backshoot Crockett in a fit of pique, but Evan steps in front of the bullet. To the strains of Peter Gabriel's Biko, Evan dies in Crockett's arms after telling him that he'll be next. Apart from those 2 Peter Gabriel songs, Biko and Rhythm of the Heat, this episode also features You Only Left Your Heart, a 1982 song by the UK new wave group Fashion, which plays while Tubbs is romancing a beautiful woman. There is no earthly reason for Tubbs to be pouring champagne that way, other than that it looks kind of cool, so fair enough. This episode also introduces another gorgeous Jan Hammer instrumental track titled Evan. Hammer would receive an Emmy nomination specifically for this episode. So this is a great episode. As I mentioned, it's my all-time favorite, though there's some stiff competition for that title. It's suspenseful, poignant, and loaded with foreshadowing. Throughout the series, Miami Vice makes it clear there's only 3 logical outcomes for any vice cop. You're going to get corrupted, you are going to go insane, or you're going to get killed. Evan's got those last two categories covered pretty comprehensively, and he's sounding the alarm that someday this will happen to Crockett too. Crockett is smart and fundamentally decent, and he's got a boundlessly supportive partner in Tubbs, but all the best episodes of Miami Vice keep telling us over and over that someday that won't be enough to protect him. I'm giving Evan my highest and rarest rating, 5 solid gold flamingos. Well done, Miami Vice. Next week, we'll be saying farewell to Miami Vice's first season with a finale in which Dennis Farina returns as the notorious bookie Lombard. Until then, go and hunt down a copy of this episode if you haven't already seen it, or find me on Twitter so we can chat about it. I will see you later. Thank you very much for joining me. Goodbye.